Namaskar. Welcome to today's class. Today we shall discuss chapter 15 in part. Chapter 15 is the longest chapter. So I will divide it into two videos. I will discuss the first half with you in today's video. Now in chapter 14 we saw that responding to the advertisement that Romola had put up in the newspaper, a young lady, has come seeking for the job of domestic help. There is one thing that makes Ramola a little suspicious about her. She doesn't look like a maid, she is educated, and she is behaving in a very haughty and arrogant manner, in a very overconfident kind of way. So throughout the day, Ramola keeps thinking about her. And when she returns in the evening, she is certain or she is doubtful that the bird must have flown away. वो धोखा देके भाग गई होगी. Ramola's flat was on the third floor. As she climbed the steps in the evening, she has come back from office. She is taking the steps, climbing the steps. Doubt is eating her, and she is doubting that the bird must have flown away. And who is this bird? This bird is Pahari. And Pahari is that young domestic help. And she is doubtful. She must have gone away. She must have run away. She must have fled. Even though she kept the house locked from outside, kept the door locked from outside. It must be Pahari's conspiracy in suggesting her to lock the door from outside. So she didn't know much about that woman, except that her name was Pahari and she was from Dhalbhum. From the Sindur mark, vermilion mark on the parting of the forehead, she learned that she must be a married lady. There was no other information about that young woman available with her. So it's quite natural we are a little suspicious and it takes some time to feel confident about that particular person. To her relief, the door was still locked. She unlocked the door and pressed the doorbell. Pahari peeped through the peephole. There are peepholes, through which you can see. On the doors, you have peepholes through which a person who is there inside can look outside. Who is pressing the bell? So Pahari peeped through the peephole before opening the door. This shows that she was very clever. Instead of opening the door all of a sudden, she is very clever. She is very smart. She peeps through the peephole, makes sure that it is her mistress, and then she opens the door, much to the satisfaction of her employer. Usually, Romola would find the surrounding as she had left in the morning. Now, when no maid was there at home, when she was living, Romola was staying alone in that flat. So it would be all the same when she returned home in the evening. There would be a dress lying on the bed. The floor would be unclean. Some utensil must be lying here and there, just as she had left them in the morning. But today, there would be untidy plates, dishes piled on the table, clothes strewn about, thrown here and there. Dust would be there, dust would have settled on the floor, towels here, slippers there, an empty cup on the table. Today the room looked very neat, clean and tidy. Everything looked spick and span. Pahari had kept some hot water she had even kept some hot water ready for her to wash her face. And the moment she arrived, she served her tea with nimkis that tasted out of this world. Very tasty nimkis. She had prepared fresh nimkis at home. Ramala marked that she was wearing the same sari she was wearing. Pahari was wearing the same sari that she was wearing in the morning. Although it looked neat and tidy then, after a day's work, it was not looking that tidy. It appeared crumpled, rumpled, and dirty. Some, lines must have appeared there. In the morning, perhaps it was a little ironed. Now it would not be that tidy. Romola asked her if she had brought some clothes with her to change into. So, have you brought anything with you? Pahari said, when I left the house, Didimani, I had not given a thought to anything. So, for me, the most important thing was to leave the house. So, then it didn't occur that I would need some clothes. Romola gave her a sari, a blouse, and a petticoat. When Pahari expressed her willingness to wear such expensive clothes, no, Didimani, I will not wear such. These clothes are very expensive. I am not fit for those. Ramola said that she didn't have any inexpensive ones, cheap ones. No, where can I get cheap ones for you? And she had to take the trouble. You have to wear these. Gradually, the intimacy between the two deepened. So it's quite natural. With the passage of time, the intimacy depends, increases. They come close to each other. Ramola addressed her in the familiar terms like Tui in Bengali, just as we say Tu in Odia, Tui in Bengali. She even asked her questions about her personal life. So, with the passage of time, Ramola gathered confidence. She was now confident that this was not a type of lady who was going to cause any harm to her. So when that confidence was built, she started spending more time. Or she asked about her family life, personal life. When Romola asked why she fought with her husband, Pahari replied, We didn't fight. We didn't fight at all with each other. I began to despise myself. Despise is to hate. I hated myself. If I have to slave, then why should I slave without any return in terms of money? Now, usually what happens, father goes to work in the office and mother does a number of chores, household works. And, when father comes back in the evening, he says, क्या कर रही थी तुम दिन भर? I was working so hard. What were you doing? You must be sleeping in the daytime. So, not giving the right worth, not attaching the right worth or giving, respecting the work of a wife. So if you don't get the respect, you feel as if your life has become worthless. Why should not I work for a salary? Why should I work for my husband? I work so much for my husband. I ensure his well-being. I see that he is perfectly well. And when he comes back home in the afternoon or in the evening, he starts beating me on every plea. So why should I work for him? So you start despising yourself. You start hating yourself. So that is what Pahari is saying. So if I have to work, if I do not get the kind of respect that I deserve, then why should I work free of cost for somebody? Why should not I try to get some money in return? Why should I live with a despicable man? A man who hates me, a man whom I hate, a despicable man, a man whom I hate, whom I dislike, and get beaten up every day. He comes back home and starts beating me. Gets drunk, spends his money on wine, and the moment he reaches home, he starts beating me. Why should I spend my time with such a worthless fellow, useless fellow? Since Pahari took the best possible care of Ramola, the latter felt As if the old comforts had returned, she began relishing the almost forgotten luxury of being served and taken care of. Now, when Romula was staying with her parents, when a girl stays with her parents until she gets married, parents don't put so much pressure on the girl. Do this, they don't tell, do this, do that, or throughout the day. You just take care of yourself and they take the best care of the child. And when Romula came to her in-laws house, there also she didn't have to do much. They had cooks who took care of everything. They had domestic helps who took care of everything. So, but after she left her in-laws house and stayed separately, she had to do a number of things at home. So, since Pahari took the best care of Romola, she saw that Pahari ensured that Romola lived in utmost comfort. She didn't have to do anything. Romola felt as if the old comforts had returned. She began relishing, liking the almost forgotten luxury of being served and taken care of. Now she was served, she was taken care of well, she lived a grand life, a happy life, a luxurious life. There was somebody to take care of her, there was somebody to take care of her needs. Romola was extremely happy. She felt a sort of release from the tentacles of her lonely, meaningless life. So earlier she was feeling as if she was leading a lonely and meaningless life. But now she was a little comfortable. As if she had become free, she had freed herself. She had been able to free herself from the tentacles. Octopus has tentacles, with which it holds onto something. Similarly, as if loneliness had held onto her. Now she had been able to free herself from that. Earlier, her household lacked all grace and beauty. There was no order or harmony. When she was living alone, she became so tired. Mentally, at least, she became so tired that she didn't feel like working, and therefore, the house appeared, the rooms appeared in shambles, in complete disarray, disturbed state, unorganized state. Romola equally enjoyed conversing with. There was somebody. She was staying alone. Now there is somebody with her, so she can spend some time talking to her, relishing tea, snacks. She prepared all those snacks with a lot of care. Though nobody in her father's family deserted Romola because of her separation from her husband, nobody supported her either. Now, Romula's parents did not desert her, leave her completely. No, you have left your husband, we have nothing to do with you. They didn't say that. You are our daughter, no matter what you do, you are our daughter. We are there to take care of you. But, my dear, we are not happy with the decision that you have taken to sever all ties, to cut all ties with your in-laws family and especially with your husband. One day Romula's mother visited her. Pahari took great care of her, addressed her as Marshima and happily served her refreshments. But Romula's mother was not the kind of lady who was very easily pleased. She went on asking one question after another, endless questions. Finally, she said why Romola liked an unknown woman like her. So Romola's mother is telling Romola, why you like her? Because birds of a feather flock together. What is the meaning of that? How they are birds of the same feather? She has left her husband. You have left your husband. So you two gel very well. You two are happy with each other. That is the reason. Huh? So she too had deserted her husband, left her husband to taste freedom in the name of freedom. That I want to taste freedom, I want to be free, and therefore I leave my husband. Ramola's mother was unhappy that she had put so much trust in that young lady, right? Ramola's mother was very unhappy because of that. And Ramola's mother thought, how you have given her the permission to open your trunks, your suitcase. One day she might run away with everything. Ramola says if that happens, if she runs away, then I will curse myself for my foolishness. For trusting a lady without knowing her very well. Then I will curse myself. Right? Ramola's mother expresses her unhappiness with her by saying, Ramola, you have turned your life into a joke. Everybody agrees that if the husband gets transferred, the wife has to follow him and be with him. In our time, even that was not the custom. Even if when the husband got transferred, the bride was left, the wife was left at the in-laws' house. The wives used to despair when the husband was transferred. But you defied everyone. So these are, there are certain set customs that a woman has to follow. This is a custom. But you have defied, you have challenged this custom, you have defied everything. And you say, why should I resign? Because of him? And what was the result of that? Your defiance? Result of your defiance? Challenging the custom? Norms of society? You were separated from your husband. Romola is not the kind of lady to accept defeat easily. And she says, why did they disapprove of going with their husbands in your time when they were transferred? Ramola's mother said this was so because the society condemned it. Society did not approve when a lady accompanied her husband when the husband was transferred. No, your husband has been transferred. Okay, you stay back at home, take care of your in-laws, take care of your children. Why should you go with your husband? Can't you live without your husband? Right, this was what the society said those days. Ramola's mother said this was so because the society condemned it. She expressed her displeasure by saying that those days had gone. Those days had gone when women respected the norms of the society. Now, these days, people challenge everything. Ramola said, not only have those days gone, Ma, another day has come. Each day, each age has its peculiarities, its strangeness, its specialities. For me to have to follow the husband, be compelled to give up my own thing, and live only on cooking and housekeeping appears a despicable life. So, in your age, women believed in something. Times have changed. We believe in something else. For me, to accompany the husband, leave your job, leave your freedom, accompany the husband, take care of the children. No, these are not the only things that a woman is born to do. A woman also needs a little freedom from drudgery, from dull and boring work. So housekeeping, cooking, taking care of children, taking care of elders. I am not born for all these things. Mother becomes very angry. She says, everything is abnormal in your case. There is nothing normal. You think these norms of the society are abnormal. These are not to be believed. followed. Huh? So women have followed their husbands and cooked and kept for, taken care of them, taken care of their homes from times immemorial. You say women वही किए हैं. So, I don't know what you find so strange about all these things. Ramola responds by saying, husbands have gone to far off lands to trade and commerce in the past. Wives have stayed at home and worshipped the gods for their safety, for their safe return. Husbands have gone to royal courts, to Nawab's courts, to the merchants to eke out a living, to earn some money so that they can manage their households. Wives have thanked their stars on seeing their respective husbands once in a blue moon. When husbands came back safe and sound, wives became happy because husbands came back with money. And even in your times when the husbands moved out of their ancestral homes, their wives despaired because they were not supposed to accompany their husbands. So, okay, this has been the custom. She is not ready to accept the argument of her mother that wives were able to follow their husbands from times immemorial. So, Ma, you say that wives have always followed their husbands. But if it was true, why in your times you were not allowed to leave? You were not allowed to leave the in-laws house. Go with your husband. She says that they are only doing so now. Otherwise, the wives have always given more importance to the family, to their homes, than to their husbands. Ramola's mother expresses her anger by saying it's her egoism, her pride, her vanity that is doing the talking. This is what has taken you away from your husband, your pride. Oh, I am a free bird. I want to live freely. I want to taste independence. I am not made for cooking. I am not made for childbearing. I am not made for taking care of somebody. To hell with all these things. This is why your husband has gone away. You have lost your husband in the process. She asks Ramola to be careful with the help of her. Acha, this help of yours, domestic help. I don't think she is from the working class. Heaven knows what she has in her mind. I also find her very smart, outspoken. I don't know why you have given her so much freedom. Romola, of course, didn't share her mother's panic. Romola was a little confident, more confident than what her mother was. She agreed that. Pahari, of course, didn't belong to a working class. She was born with a natural dignity. So, this is one thing you can write about Pahari. If a question comes, you are writing the characterization. You have, a question on that. Then you can write that there was a natural dignity about her. She didn't appear like a domestic help. Then, the next one page or two pages give us hints about the arguments that Romola and her husband had. What argument it was? Romola is thinking. Romola says, why do you imagine I am giving you up? You spent a whole year in America and wasn't I away from you then? So my staying away from you should not be construed or should not be considered as my going away from you. What makes you think that I am going away from you? I am separating from you. So you lived in America for a year. Didn't I stay back here? Then also we remained separated from here, each other. Her husband says, you lived in my house then. When I was in America, you lived in my house. You ran my household. You took care of my household. You were mine in every way. Then Ramola says, oh, Oh, I can remain yours only when I am in your house and I take care of your family and I take care of the elders in the family. I manage your household affairs. Otherwise, I will not be a wife. You have decided to leave my parents, he says, my household, and you have decided to live elsewhere. If you wish to live alone, then it is as good as getting separated. Romola complains her husband that his parents didn't agree to take care of her, saying that they can't be responsible for a daughter-in-law who works outside and goes about alone. So Romola says, no, your parents did not agree to stay with me. They said, no, we are not going to take care of a daughter-in-law who goes outside and who works in a, those days, women were not allowed to go outside, forget about working somewhere in some office, in the midst of male colleagues. So, they said, no, we wash our hands off. हमें कोई लेना देना नहीं है भाई वो जाने तुम जानो even Romula's parents wash their hands of her. They said, why here? Why do you want to stay with us? You should better stay with her in-laws, your parents-in-law. And husband said, you know, Romula's parents said, no, don't stay here. Don't stay with us. Romula's in-laws said, no, we are not ready to take care of you. If you work somewhere, if you stay away from your husband. Then husband said, who is supposed to take care of you? I am supposed to take care of you. Who is supposed to take care of your needs? I. It's I. So stay with me, live with me, just as a wife lives with a husband. Why don't you allow him to shoulder the responsibility whose duty it is to do so? You are my responsibility. I am ready to take care of you. Take care of you. Why don't you live with me? Why do you want to get separated? Then can't we both manage to leave my own earnings? The money that I get, the salary that I get is sufficient for both of us. And you know what Romola says in response? Just to exist is not everything. So for a woman of New India, just to exist is not everything. And she asks, doesn't the woman have the right to live as she chooses? If you can live a life, life that you choose, why can't I live a life that I choose? Don't I have the freedom? When she asked her husband this, he said, of course, you have the right to live. Ramula says, but if a woman wants to live the life that she wants to live, she has to pay a price. And in my case, the price is too great. I have to stay away. I have to leave my husband to live the life that I want to live. She has to pay for the right. And she has to pay for it dearly. If a woman has the right to live the life she wants to live, why am I suffering? I am suffering because I have decided to live a life of my own. Right? So Romola was thinking about the argument that she heard that day with her husband. Pahari is also lost in the other room. Pahari is also lost in the thought of her husband. What he would be doing back at home? He would only be cooking boiled rice and potatoes. Poor man, he doesn't know how to cook other things. So he would be managing with rice and potatoes. She dreamt of him bringing water from the well. He would be bringing water from the well, washing plates and utensils. Or he would just be sitting idly, doing nothing, and he would be smoking one biri after another. and his chin will be covered with stubbles of beard, stubbles, roots. The room must be covered with half smoked biddies. He must have thrown it here and there. And matchsticks, used matchsticks. He must have thrown it here and there. Uh, he must not have taken care of tidiness. He must have forgotten to put up the brick on the tin. The rats must be having a field day. They must be eating the rice, from the tin. Even cockroaches would be having free access to the jaggery pot. She had a pot in which she had put jaggery, gur. So they must be eating that. He must be eating at Arjun's restaurant where they cooked rat's meat onion and garlic. So he must be eating all those food stuff. Hmm. Pahari tried to despise the man but failed. She wanted to hate that man, but somehow or the other, she failed to hate him. Rather, the attitude of despised boomerang to herself. She wanted to hate him, but in the process, she was hating herself. She was cursing herself. She was blaming herself for the present situation. So, in the second part, we shall see how the situation progresses, how it takes shape. Thank you very much.